Okay, well, the first place we're going to start is make our construction lines. So in my construction layer, I'm going to make one that lines up with this one that I did previously. There we go. When I have this one laid out is that the left side is the bottom. Okay. I'm going to make these rings from the outside going in. Get into my object layer. Check my snaps, make sure nearest is not on. Go to my circle and type D, enter, so I can enter in the diameter, which is 6.5. And we'll keep going in here. Boy, little trouble getting used to this laptop. I'll delete that one in a second. So the next one is 5. The next one is 4.5. Wow. And then 3, actually 3.5 and then 3. And yeah, that should do it. I think that's close. There is one more that isn't marked on there as a diameter. And that is the outer diameter of that donut-shaped ring inside. It shows that its centers are at 3 inches and that its diameter is marked as 3/4. Its radius would be half that, of course, on each side. So that ends up adding up to 3 3/4. So that is that donut-shaped recess, all right? So that one is going to be 3.75. There you go. And those two guys are going to be our hidden ones. So these are the ones that are inside. We got the hole that's going through the whole thing, that very first one. And then these next 2 diameters are the recess on the bottom, which is that guy there, the 3.5. And then the further one out is the that donut shape. So we'll put those on our hidden layer. Everything else is visible as an object line. And that's it for the circles. Let's move on and do some dimensioning. I'm going to offset this guy a couple times here. And that is going to be used to create the dimension line. There's only one hole to dimension. That's the hole that goes through the whole thing right there. There it is, 3-inch diameter hole. We have some center lines to do. The center lines are going to be in the upper right quadrant. So from there to there. And the phantom line you can see is going to be in the lower left quadrant. We got one more line to add on to that phantom line, and that is the arrow pointing upward. And we use the leader. Remember the leader style we made, that section style, which was super simple. I'll just review it really quick. We had its size, the arrowhead size is 0.25. The leader structure just had nothing, 0 things were checked here, and then the content said none as well, okay? So we made that guy 1 inch tall, and that was easy to do by just offsetting the center line 1 inch and then making that leader straight down from there, and then just moving it over. Whoops, just moving it over. Remember to hit the enter button after you make the leader. That's why the one I just made went away. So click and hit the enter button. And now you can move it over. All right, and I'm going to turn off that last circle, and that's how we get the center lines here and the cut line there. So we are basically just cutting out this one corner of this round and revealing what that looks like. The last thing I need to do is put my letters here. So I'm going to go to my text box and make a letter A. And make sure that's the large size there, 0.25. I want that big. All right, and then I can move it exactly where I want it. Just right over the arrow. And I'll copy that and put one over here also. Okay, top view is done. I got all the circles, got the hole dimensioned, and I've got my cut line in place, center lines in place. Okay, so what does this look like when it's carved out? Well, it looks like this right here. You can see the one side is standard, showing hidden lines. The other side is showing the cutaway. Okay, so let's make that. First thing I need to do is drop all the lines down from the circles. So go to my construction layer and type XL, enter. Maybe. There we go. And just click on all those circles. Okay. And now for the horizontal construction lines. I'll line it up with the one I did previously. And these offsets are as I have dimensioned here. So I have the, just like they did it in our example, I have the dimensions on the right side for the exterior features, and I have the dimensions on the left side for the interior features. That makes it simple. So we'll just knock these out. 0.75. So O, enter. 0.75, enter. That's our first one. Our next one is 1. And then it's 1.625. The next one is 2.375. then 3 1/4. And lastly, 4 inches. So there they are. Now I left a couple out, and those are the ones that make up the sides of this slot, this donut cavity. The total width is 0.750, and so you can offset half of that distance on each side of this line. So that's 3/8 of an inch, or 0.375. So I'm offsetting 0.375 on each side of that center line. There you go. Okay, well, we got a lot of lines to click on. Try not to get confused here. I'm going to move to my object layer and start off with a rectangle, a large rectangle here. Next, I'm going to do this guy right here, this next one. There it is. And then from there, I'll do this one on top. And then connect those. And that is the exterior right there. So if you were just drawing the outside, you would be done. We're not just drawing the outside, we are drawing the inside as well. So let's go to our hidden lines. This cavity on the inside here, up and over. And you can see I'm only doing the one side. I could do the other side if I wanted. I got to convert those to object lines. I could also mirror it. There's a number of ways to do this. I'm just going to do the right side right now. That will be the most simple way to take care of this. There's no reason in me duplicating my work here. And then the hole that goes through the whole thing, basically the hole that goes through the whole thing is just like this right here. And it's just drilling through the entire thing. And then we have this additional slot. So I'm going to trim that little piece out. I could do that right now or wait. But the slot comes through like this. And then there is the radius part here. So I can just go to my circle and click on the center and then go out to that point. I'm going to turn off the construction line so it's a little easier to see what's going on. This inside of this donut needs to be trimmed away. So I can just get rid of that stuff right now. And that's basically it. That is what the inside would look like. Now I'm going to mirror this, mirror all these hidden lines. And try that one more time. So that is our standard view. That is how we would normally draw this object. Of course, we are doing the left side as a section view. So what does it look like on the left side if you cut this whole thing open? Well, you may recall, for starters, it's a good idea to take those lines we just made and put them on the object layer. There's no hidden lines in a section view. And now we can trim away what we would or would not see. So what wouldn't we see if we had cut this thing in half? Actually, that one. Let me, before I start doing that, let me put the center line in here. That'll help things out a little bit. I'm going to put my construction lines back on and do this offset of 0.25 so that I can correctly draw my center line. And that will make things a little easier when I do the trimming. All right. Center line's in place. Going to turn the construction lines off, and now I can trim this stuff out. There we go, without any problems. There it is. So that is what it would look like. This portion on the side here, which is really the body, is all one solid piece. And then we have all these hollow areas. This is the big recessed area. This is the main 3-inch hole going through the whole thing. And this is that donut-shaped cavity. Go to my section layer and then my hatch and fill that in. And so that is what the body, the cut through body looks like. And this stuff that's empty is truly, it's open space, it's hollow. Okay. So that's it for the drawing. We have the remaining dimensions that you see here. And I'd like to remind you that when you're placing these dimensions, they are placed a 1/4 of an inch apart. So all these offsets between these baselines are all 0.25. The first space is a 1/2 of an inch. When you do these diameter dimensions, be sure that you insert the diameter. For example, if I'm going to do this one right here, I don't just click at 4.5. I have to type M, enter, and then choose the diameter symbol, and then give it the green check. And now I can place the dimension with the diameter symbol. Another thing to point out that I did over here, a couple things. This dimension here, now this is an interesting situation, this 3.5 inch. The truth is, ideally, we would be able to dimension this hole like that right there, from edge to edge. That is the hole in question, a recess. But the problem is we're not allowed to dimension to a hidden line. The whole point of doing, or one of the main points of doing this section view, is that we're able to dimension to the interior features because they show up as object lines. You know, all these are object lines over here. But because this is only a 1/2 section, we're not able to reach across to the other side. So what is done is basically we fake this whole thing. So I click on this point and I click on this point. And before I place the dimension, which is actually 1.75, I'm going to type M, enter, and just delete all of the dimension and type the entire thing out. So it starts with the diameter symbol, and then it is 3.500, check mark. And I just fabricated the entire dimension. Okay, so there you go. It's a kind of a, it's not ideal, but it's really the best thing that we can do in this situation when we are using a 1/2 section view. 1/2 section views are really nice. It saves us a lot of space. We don't have to have that third drawing. But so this is one of the small sacrifices that comes with it. Other things to point out are dimensioning this donut shaped, which really it's really a slot shape in a 2D view. So it has a center line going through the entire thing. As you can see right here, we dimensioned to its center. And then I dimensioned its width and length. So you can see in the top view, this 375 is its overall length. And its overall width is 750. When you place these dimensions, let's do the overall width here. And you go from one end to the other. You got to be careful where you're clicking. If you look closely here, it looks as though the extension lines are touching the object. And they pretty much are. So what you want to do is with your nearest snap-on, click on the extension line after you first place it, and then move it up a bit. Move it out of the way. And scoot over and do the other one, approximately the same amount. Move it out of the way. And that way, it's not making contact with the sides. And I did that with the width as well. Another thing I did with that width dimension, you can see in this dimension as well, this 2375 that measures to its center, is I broke it up. I broke some of these dimensions up, and you can use the dim break command for that. So let me show you over here exactly how I did that. So I dimensioned to its center like this, and then I dimensioned its width and pulled that guy out. That. Now these lines are crossing, and although this is okay, I am not a big fan of that. Too much crisscrossy. So I like to use the dim break command. It's not required, but it's nice. So here's how it works. You just type DIM and finish it off with BREAK, and it should populate. There it is. Click the dimension you want to break, and then hit the enter button. And voila, it will break everywhere. So yeah. It's up to you if you want to use it. I like it. You can see this is how it worked out over here. And it also allowed for this dimension coming from the top here, right? So it kind of cleared out this area well here. Otherwise, it just gets a little confusing. Let me zoom out just a little bit and take a look at the finished product here. So there it is. And there is the top view.